Hi YouTubers, we're continuing on the series This is Life. Have you ever wondered that you are in a boxing ring and you're fighting a heavyweight and it feels like punches, blows after blows have been landed on you, and sometimes you wonder how much more can I take? Or maybe you felt like you've done the right thing, you've gone to uni, you've graduated, you're now working, but yet still you're drowning in bills, or maybe you've lost something or someone that you never thought that you could live without. Well, this is life, my friend. The funny thing is, life doesn't always play fair. You may have heard that. Life doesn't ask if we are ready before it hits you and I with storms. But one thing I've learned is that storm doesn't last forever, and that every storm, no matter how violent, it carries a lesson, a seed of greatness, a moment of transformation that we could grab from that storm. You may have heard also that life is said to be unpredictable. Life is hard. Sometimes it feels like we are climbing a never ending hill with no clear view of the top. And when we're trying to figure out life, that hill can even seem to be steeper than it was before. You're grappling with the fact that society expects you to have everything figured out, have your career, have your money, have your identity figured out. But how are you supposed to figure it out when you're barely surviving from day to day? How many of us are walking through our own wars right now? I mean, wars in our minds, wars in our families, wars in our friendship, wars and wars. But I want you to know one thing, that the path of peace isn't easy, but it is possible. And it is so possible that even when the world around us is burning, peace is possible. There was a guy I heard about. He was a father, a husband, worked so hard for most of his life. He built small businesses from nothing, pouring his time, pouring his sweat, his soul, and finally he starts to feel like he's getting somewhere in life. And then out of nowhere, life struck. Life struck like a wrecking ball. His businesses collapsed. His debt piled up. The bank took his home. His confidence was shattered. And in that story, he said one night as he was working and he started asking or talking to himself, is this it? Is this how my story really ends? But he said somewhere, somehow, something on the inside of him whispered and said, not yet, not yet, my friend. And that's a piece of encouragement for you if you're going through that storm right now. I want you to know that this is not the end of the story. You see, the pain we feel is in the end of our story, but what if that pain is just the beginning of our strength? You see, that guy had choices to make after he lost his businesses. He had choices to make. One of them was to stay down and wallow in despair and begin to blame everybody else, or he could choose to stand up. Because life, what I've noticed, no one can come to your rescue. No one can give you a handout. But you must realize that if no one gives you a handout, if no one gives you a platform, you have the power to create one. You have the power to take whatever job you can take after you've lost your job. You have the power to learn new skills. How about learning that thing that you've always had passion for, but you were so busy working? How about learning that photographing thing that you knew you know how to do, but because of work, you were swamped with work, you never had the time? How about taking that seriously? You never know. You may start by taking photos, and from taking photos, that photos might lead to newspaper, being photos being placed in newspapers, and then to magazines or being published. You just never know. And that's why I think pain, when redirected, can become the very thing that can set you and I free. But how many of us right now are carrying pain in silence? Do you know that the healing starts with honest conversation to friends, honest conversation to somebody that you know you can feel vulnerable to, because our vulnerability is our strength. If you and I are waiting to feel ready before we make a move to start building, then we're making a mistake. We don't need to have all the answers before we begin, guys. We just need to start. And then when we start and we persevere and we have become successful, that will be a proof that persistence pays off. Not luck, persistence pays off. And this is the hard truth, that life is going to test you and I. Life will push some of us to the limit. But the struggle is not there to break you, it's there to shape you. The pain that you and I carry today can either weigh us down or push us forward. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Because the struggle that we are facing isn't the dead end road. The struggle that we're facing is the road to something greater, but it's how you perceive it to be. So if today is hard, I urge you to take one more step. If you feel lost, keep moving. If you feel alone, reach out to someone and talk to someone, because loneliness exists. If you are falling, rise again. If no one gives you the opportunity, create one. And most importantly, never stop believing in your comebacks. Look, life is hard. But what I've learned is that the pain that we feel as we go through life is our teacher. The struggles that we feel as we go through this life is the curriculum. And how resilient we are, that, my friend, is the certification we get for life. Whether it's a diploma or it's a first degree certificate, that's the certification we get. So if we are struggling right now, I want you to hear me, and hear me loud and clear. This is not where your story will end. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how dark it seems, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. But you must keep moving. You must keep pushing forward, because one day that struggle will turn into story. One day that pain will turn into power. One day you and I will look back and say, we made it. And one day we will realize, as we look back, that the hill wasn't endless after all. Because this is life, guys. And if we persist, life has a way of surprising us. So, my friends, if these resonate with any one of you, I urge you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, and keep winning, my friends. Take care.